Premeditated homicide is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down to try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance.
Thank you, but no.
You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in advertising.
No, it's hard.
I never would have known if you hadn't told me, would you?
I suppose not. I can't forget.
All I've done all day is sweat.
I bet you aren't sweating like that kid was tried.
You think that at least air conditioned the place? I almost dropped that in court.
My taxes are high enough.
This should go fast anyway.
Yes, it's hot.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is here. If there's anything you want, I am right outside. Just knock.
Did she lock that door?
Yes, she did.
What do they think we are? Crooks?
He locked us up for a little while.
And then they lock that kid up forever, and that's okay by me.
I never knew they did that.
Sure to lock the door. What did you think?
I just didn't know. It never occurred to me.
So we all admit right now that it's hot and humid, and our tempers are short.
Well, it's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job could be gone, and the whole company too. They aren't going to like this. Well, figure this is our duty. I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Has Kurt hired you? She is rich. Look at the clothes.
Is it custom tailored? Yes, it is. I have an uncle who's a tailor. Well, how does he do it? Not too well. You know, a friend of his. That's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, this friend wants to be on this jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
And get caught or something? You know what kind of a fine you could get or anything like that? Anyway, this friend of my uncle's was on a jury once, about 10 years ago. A case just about like this one. So what happened? They let him off, reasonable doubt. And do you know, about 8 years later, they found out that he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose in the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy unless it's a hung jury. They can't try a man twice for the same crime.
Oh, that is not going to happen here.
6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
Well, everybody gets a fair trial. That's the system. I suppose you can't say anything against it.
How did you like that business about tonight? Did you ever hear a more ridiculous story?
Well, look, you gotta expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
He bought a witch knife that night.
And then you lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
An awful way to kill your father, and I in his chest.
What kind of people they are? You know that.
What's the matter? You got a call?
Hey, Lou. This outweight calls can kill you.
I had one last year while I was on vacation too.
All right, everyone, let's take seats.
Right, this better be fast. I've got tickets to Mamma Mia for tonight. I must be the only guy in the world who hasn't seen it yet. Okay, Your Honor. start the show.
How about sitting down? The gentleman at the window. How about sitting down?
I'm sorry.
It's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father. Bang! Just like that. Well, it's the element. They let the kids run wild. Maybe it serves them right.
There are better proofs than some emotion you may have. Perhaps a dislike for some group.
We all agreed that it was hot.
And that our tempers will get short.
That's if we disagree, but this is open and shut. Let's get it done.
All right, now you ladies and gentlemen can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. If you want to discuss it first and then vote, that's one way. Or we can vote right now and see how we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah. Let's see who's where.
Anybody doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
All right, all those voting guilty, raise your hands. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 for guilty. Not guilty?
Hey, you're in left field.
Okay, 11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is ABC.
I don't believe that it is as simple as ABC.
I never saw a guilty man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he is guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. This man is a dangerous killer. You could see it.
Where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Well,
No, come on, tell me. What are the facial characteristics of a killer? Maybe you know something I don't know.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
Well, he's 19.
that's all enough. He knifed his own father, 4 inches into the chest. An innocent little 19-year-old kid.
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
They proved it 1,000 different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Do you believe that stupid story you
Now,
told?
now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So, what you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send the boy off to die without talking about it
Who
first.
says it's easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast?
Not necessarily.
Look, I think the guy is guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Just what are you thinking of?
Look, I just want to talk for a while. This kid's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in a slum, mothered that since he was 9. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way? Because we knock him over the head once a day, every day. I just think we owe him a few words, that's all.
All right, sure, it's hard. It was hard for me. Everything I thought I fought for. I worked my way through college. That was a long time ago. Perhaps you do forget. Yes, I fought, but I never killed.
I know what it's like, but I never killed anybody.
I've been kicked around too. Wait until you work on ad agents and the big boy that buys the advertising often. We all know.
In my country, in Europe, kicking was a science. But let's try to find something better than that.
I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't know the kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost? Well, he's lucky you got it. Look, real brothers, you're not going to tell us we're supposed to believe him knowing what he is. I believed them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
Well, I don't know that. What a terrible thing we're meant to believe. Since when is this honesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right. It's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man says is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to behave like ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Thank you, sure. Now, if we're going to discuss this case, why, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good point. We have a job to do. Let's do it.
I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we are right and he is wrong. Maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, you know, try it on for size.
That sounds fair.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table.
Okay, let's do it.
Right. We'll start with you.
Oh, well, I just think he is guilty. That it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean that nobody proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Well, sure, I wrote of it. I know what it is. What I meant, well, anyway, I think he is guilty.
No reasons, just guilty. There's a life at stake here, you know.
All right. Let's get to the facts. Number one. Let's take the young man who lived on the second floor, right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 10 minutes after 12, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment, and he said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard a kid yell, "I am going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body falling, and a kid running out of the house 15 seconds after that. Then he called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right. Now what else do you want?
It doesn't sound right to me.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, don't you think? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
You're right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
He didn't have any ticket stub.
Who keeps the ticket stub at the movies?
Well, that's true enough.
I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember him.
And the ticket taker didn't either.
Look, what about the woman across the street? If her testimony don't prove anything, then nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Just a minute. Here's a woman who was lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know. Anyway, she wakes up and looks out of the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father.
How can she really be sure it was the kid when she saw through the windows of a passing elevator train?
She's known the kid all his life. His window was right opposite hers, across the L tracks, and she swore she saw him do it.
I heard there's a report.
Okay, and they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Weren't you telling us just a minute or two ago that you can't trust them, that you can't believe them?
So,
Then I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
Now take it easy.
Come on! Sit down. What are you letting him get you all upset for? Relax.
Ladies and gentlemen, they did take us out to the woman's apartment, and we did look through the windows of a passing elevated train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
So, weren't you able to see what happened on the other side?
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but yes, I did see what happened on the other side.
you see, do you see?
Let's calm down now. It's your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. How about you?
I don't know. I started to be convinced, with the testimony from those people across the hall. Didn't they say something about an argument between the father and the boy that night around 7 o'clock? I mean, I can't be wrong.
I think it was 8 o'clock, not 7.
That's right, 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice and saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right.
What does that prove?
It doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of it is said already. We can talk all day about this thing, but I think we're wasting our time.
Well, I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Look at the kid's record. He stole the car, he's been arrested for mugging, and I think they found he stabbed somebody in the arm.
They did.
He was picked up for knife fighting. At 15, he was in reform school.
Yes. And he sent to reform school for stabbing someone.
This is a very fine boy.
Look, ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fist, you know.
So would I, on a kid like that.
You're right. It's the kids. The way they are, they don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8, I saw him running from a fight. I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or I'm gonna bust you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15, he hit me in the face. I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kids. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and... Alright. Let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say, he's a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it. So do you. Children who come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to the society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now wait a second.
I used to live in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe
Now-
it still smells on me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on now. He didn't mean you fed up. Let's not be so sensitive.
Well, what did he mean then?
I can understand this sensitivity.
Now let's stop with bickering.
Okay, let's stop the arguing. We're only wasting time. It's your turn.
Okay. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kid, I agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. You know, that fine upright kid admitted buying.
Alright, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. Madam Foreman, I'd like to see it again.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
The gentleman has the right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay with me.
This switch knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
Now, let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to a neighboring store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day after admitting that he sold it to the boy.
Yes, it was an unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said that it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
As a present for a friend who visits us.
Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet she's right. Now you, listen to this woman. She knows what she's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, and that he never saw it again. Now, there's your story, ladies and gentlemen. You know what actually happened. The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later, stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe away the fingerprints. So, everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street and went up to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No. I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost it and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Well, take a look at this knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Now, aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
No. I'm not trying to make you accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
Look at it. It's the same knife, too.
Quiet! Let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got this from a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked into the movies and was ashamed to say so. I mean, come on, is there anybody in this room that didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I don't. Really? Not even once. You have movies.
Oh, okay. Maybe he did go to the movies, or maybe he didn't, and he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
Now that's a stupid question. Sure, you lied.
What about you?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Now wait a second. What are you, the guy's lawyer? Listen, there are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're wrong. What do you think you're going to accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty sure as is born.
Well, you're probably right.
So, what are you going to do about it? You can be here all night.
God, it's only one night. A man may die because of us.
Come on.
Well, yes, that is true.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Right. Let's get going here.
I'll be like this guy.
Well, what you say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented us anything that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. Well, there's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the boy shriek it out.
The woman across the other tracks, she saw it.
We know he bought us a rich knife that night, and we don't know where he really was. At the movies?
Earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way. And while that doesn't prove anything,
Still, you know, I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you, 11 men and women, to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes who are guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
That sounds fair. Is everyone agreed?
I certainly am.
Let's roll it.
Perhaps this is fast.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please, 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
All right. Couldn't. What idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of that man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know.
Who? So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot.
No one looked how we did it. But now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on that point. No? If the person wants us to remain a secret.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you got guilty, and then this little creature starts to tear your heart out with stories about slum kids. Then you change your vote. If that isn't the most sickening.
Now hold it. I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's try to be fair.
Hold it. Be fair. That's what I'm talking about. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair where he belongs. And suddenly we are paying attention to fairy tales.
Now, just a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Let's try to keep this organized, everyone.
It isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that the man was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this one case, I agree with you, but the point I wish to make is that in my own country, I am ashamed to say...
Oh, now, what do we have to listen to? The whole history of your country?
It's always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries, when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
Now, why do you think I change my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There is nothing for him to tell you, because he didn't change his vote. I did.
I was going to tell you this, but you were so sure of yourself.
Sorry. Okay. Now,
Maybe you would like to know
let me
why.
tell you why the kids
The
are...
man wants to talk.
Thank you. This gentleman chooses not to stand alone against us. It's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the verdict up to us, he gambled for support, and I gave it to him. Now, I want to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. Which is over, let's go on.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
He Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as I get. That is the kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out. But he'll come around. He's got to. And fundamentally, he's a very reasonable man.
I guess so.
They haven't come up with one real fact yet to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know.
Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What is a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. What is a reasonable doubt when a life is at stake? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. Otherwise, everyone would start knifing people.
Much up here.
Two people think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or that sometimes then years later things turn up.
And then, on the other hand, some killers get turned loose. And they go, do it again. And they squeeze out to some technicality and kill again.
Look, buddy, now we're kind of cooled off. I was a little excited a minute ago. I didn't mean to get nasty, it's nothing personal.
Okay, fine.
Look, supposing we answer to this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose. But who else had a motive?
Well, the kid's father was along in years, maybe some old grudge.
Remember, it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And it's an important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubts are.
It's not that easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
Hey, Kevyne, what are we gonna do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, I am going to kill you. And a second later, you heard the body falling and the kid running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right, and let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked in the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now, if that's not enough for you,
That's not enough for me.
What is enough for you?
How do you like this guy? It's like talking to a wall.
The woman across the street saw the killing through the windows of a passing elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembered the most insignificant details.
what have you got to say against that?
I don't know, it doesn't seem right to me.
Supposing you think about it. Lend me your pencil. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. You might as well pass the time.
This isn't a
Yo,
game!
wait a minute.
This is a man's life!
Who do you think you are?
Alright, let's take it easy.
I've got a good mind to walk around this table and belting one.
No, please, I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see him? The nerve. The absolute nerve.
All right, forget it. You don't mean anything.
This isn't a game. Who does it think he is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
Okay. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What has that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Just guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
Well, what do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe.
Well, I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes.
All right, 10 seconds. We're agreed. What are you getting at?
This. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You could almost reach out the window and touch the L, right?
That's right, I tried it.
So?
Now, I want to ask you something. Did anyone here live right next to the L tracks?
I live close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they?
Exactly.
I live right by the L tracks. When your window's open and a train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can hear yourself think. Get to the point.
Okay. The old man downstairs heard the boy say,
He didn't say it, he screamed it.
fine. The old man downstairs heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. That's a testimony, right?
Right.
And the woman across the street. The second she looked out, she saw the body fall. Through the windows of the last 2 cars, that is. The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
What are you doing us here?
Okay. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, or more, before the body fell. According to the woman, that is. I don't think he could have heard it.
What do you say? Sure he could have heard it.
With an L train going by,
He said the boy yelled it out.
well, an L train makes a lot of noise.
It's not for me.
It's enough for me too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear. I mean, with their noise.
What were people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, it stands to reason.
You're crazy. Why would he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming up with his bright sayings. Why don't you send one into a newspaper? They pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? Please, you have a right to be heard. Why might the old man have lied?
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? This is a really old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been nothing all his life, who has never had recognition. But now, his name is in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned, and listened to, and caught just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us he lied about a thing like this, just so it could be important?
He wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he made himself believe that he heard those words and recognized the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that?
I am not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe that he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
I am the same man.
All right, I think we all understand now. Thank you.
If you want to admit you're a liar, that's okay by me.
Now that is too much.
What? He just told us so. He's a liar.
He did not say he was a liar. He was explaining.
Didn't you just admit that you're a liar?
Please. He was explaining the circumstances to us so that we might understand why the old man could have lied. There's a difference.
A liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
All right, is there anything else?
Cough drop? No, thank you. Okay. Anybody want a cough drop?
I'll take it.
Come on, let's get on with it.
Okay, thank you. Now, I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
But, supposing the old man really did hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," this phrase, how many times has each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We use it every day. This does not mean that we're actually going to go and kill someone.
But don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more. The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." And the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Now don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody says I think the way he said it, they mean it.
And how do they mean it?
Well, I want to ask you something else then. Do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood could hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slub. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't.
The boy is clever enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure.
The vote is 9 to 3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
I think that there's a reasonable doubt.
Where? What is that?
There is the knife.
Oh, fine.
He told you to believe in a fairy tale.
Go on, give us your reason.
The old man too. Maybe he didn't lie. But then, just maybe he did. Maybe the old man doesn't like the kid.
Well, if that isn't the end.
I think that there's a reasonable doubt.
What do you basing it on? Stories that this guy made up? You all write for Amazing Detective Monthly. You'll make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points?
Lawyers can think of everything.
And you can't? You sit in here and pull stories out of thin air, and now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing.
That's the testimony, I believe.
And the old man swore to this. Oh yes, he swore to this only so it would be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran? Walked? What's the difference? He got there.
I don't remember what he said, but I cannot see how he could run.
He said he went. Yes, I remember it now. He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. Is that enough for you?
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall? Are we to send a man off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
You said you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember either.
Madam Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment.
By the way, I've been run the trial over just so you can get everything straight.
Look. The old man's bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know? Do you know? Please, a man's life is at stake here. Do you know?
I don't.
Madam Foreman?
I heard you.
All right. What's this one for? How come you are the only one in this room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one too.
So do I.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
No. We're going to find out how a man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and who walks with a pair of canes could get to his front door in 15
He
seconds.
said 20 seconds.
Is that 15?
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You cannot judge that kind of thing.
Because he said 15, and he was very positive about it.
Come on, he's an old man. Half the time he was confused. How can he be positive about anything? You know,
No. I don't know. Maybe you know.
Is that what you wanted?
That's right, thank you. Sure, that's my job. You want this?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
Do me a favor. Make this over.
I looked at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Apparently, some of us are interested. Go ahead.
All right. This is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it and exactly the same. Now, here are the L tracks. The bedroom, another bedroom, living room, bathroom, and kitchen. And here's the hall. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, according to the old man, he was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went out into the hall, down the hall, and opened the front door just in time to see the boy racing downstairs. Am I right?
Right.
15 seconds after you heard the body fall.
Correct.
Now, the old man's bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. This means he had to get up out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, and open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
No, it's possible.
I don't see why not.
he would have been in a hurry. He didn't hear the scream.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him to witness chair.
You make it sound like a long walk. It's not.
For a Roman who uses canes, it's a long walk.
What are you doing?
I want to try this thing. Let's see how long it took him. I'm going to base off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't regret that kind of thing.
Perhaps if we could see some important points.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let him do it.
I don't see any harm in it. Foolish, but go ahead.
Okay. This is the bedroom door. Now, how far would you say it is from here to the water cooler?
I'd say it was 20 feet.
Just about.
20 feet is close enough. Okay, from here to the water cooler and back is 40 feet, shorter than the distance the old man had to move through. Wouldn't you say that?
A few feet, maybe.
Look, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop him.
Would you mind if I try? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We do have time, we can spare that. Now, who's gonna watch for the second hand?
I have.
Okay, when you want me to start, stamp your foot. That'll be the body folding.
We'll tell you from there.
Now, let's say he keeps his cane right at his bedside.
Right.
Okay, now, I'm ready.
I am waiting for him to get 60.
Speed it up. You walk twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than the old man walked in the courtroom.
No, it isn't.
If you think I should go faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
Stop.
Right.
What's the time?
15, 20, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
That can't be.
49 seconds.
Now that's interesting.
What do you think of that?
39 seconds. 39.
And the old cripple swore under oath that it was 15.
He might have been a little bit off on the speed that the old could move at, but 24 seconds off, well, you know.
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, and even allowing for quite a difference in speed between the old man and you, why still, there's quite a
discrepancy.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the front door and heard someone racing down the stairs and assumed that it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assumed. Now, listen to me. I have seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day. But this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell him. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slumps and injustice, and you make up these wild stories, and you got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. But I'm not. I am getting rid of you. What's the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. You are letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers. Are you his executioner?
I am one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd love to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up. Let me go. I'll kill him. I'll kill him.
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Is there something wrong?
I heard some move.
No, there's nothing wrong. You can take that back. We're finished with it.
What are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. It's a remarkable thing about democracy. That we are, what is the word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide on the guilt or innocence of a man. Of a man we had not known before. We had nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We shouldn't make a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank you?
Because we forget. It's good to be reminded.
I'm glad we're going to be so wise about this.
Well, we are still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere. Or getting there, maybe.
Maybe.
Who's got an idea? I think maybe we should try another vote. Madam Foreman?
It's all right with me. Anybody doesn't want to go?
Let's vote.
Yes, vote.
I want to know about it. Let's call our votes out. I want to know who stands for it.
That sounds fair. Anyone object? All right, I'll call up your jury numbers. I vote guilty. 2,
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10,
Guilty.
11,
Not guilty.
12,
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right in this room.
6 to 6.
I don't see why we... I really can't understand it. I'm ready to walk into court. I want to declare a hung jury.
I'd like to know why you changed your mind, and why you changed your mind, and why you did. There are 6 jurors here who think we might be turning a murderer loose in the streets. Emotion won't do. Why?
It would seem that the old man did not see the boy run downstairs. I do not think it likely that the old man heard someone scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream, and if the boy did scream that he was going to kill, then we have the authority of this man to prove that it might not really mean he's going to kill.
Why don't we take it to the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other jurors?
6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything.
It's got to be unanimous, and we're never going to convince him.
At first I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a doubt.
You can't ever convince me that there is a doubt, because I know there is no doubt.
I tell you what, maybe we are a hung jury. That happens sometimes.
We are not going to be a hung jury.
But we are, right now, a perfect balance. Let's take it to the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
The doubt is here in my mind.
Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean? Vote?
Not again.
I still want to know. Vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean that we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we are not a hung jury?
That's just what I was thinking of. Let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
If 7 or more of us vote yes, we are a hung jury, then we take it into the judge and tell him that we are a hung jury.
Right, and if 7 or more vote no, that means that we aren't a hung jury. And we go on discussing it.
It doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution.
I agree, it's the only way.
Anything grant this.
Are we all agreed then? 7 or more vote yes, and we take it into the judge. Okay, I vote yes. Wait a second. We are a hung jury. 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No.
7,
Yes.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11,
No.
12.
Yes.
Oh no.
It's 6 to 6.
Can't we get a majority to decide whether or not we are a hung jury?
I went along with the majority vote on this question, and I didn't agree with doing that way. I still don't. So, I'm changing my vote. I say no, we are not a hung jury. There are some things I'd like to find out from those jurors who changed their minds.
Then we aren't a hung jury. So we go on.
Good. We go on.
Why did you change your mind?
Well, he seems so sure, and he has made a number of good points while he only gets mad and insults everyone.
So, does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the kid? He did do it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose in the streets just because one juror gets upset when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That is true.
There's a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So, the L train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves. So the old man downstairs might have heard a scream, which is high-pitched. And it's a tenement, so they have thin walls.
Good. Good. That's it. That's it.
And the old man downstairs might have been wrong on how long it took him to get to the door, but perhaps right about whom he saw. Please remember that there weren't any fingerprints. And it's summer, so gloves seem unlikely.
That is disappointing.
What is time does one see?
Just whatever timing. Yes, let's be exact, please.
What I'm saying is, the old man downstairs might have been wrong on how long it took him to get to the door, but perhaps right about whom he saw running down the stairs. Now, it might have taken a murderer 39 seconds to wipe away all the fingerprints and get down to the point where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
This is right.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Now, let's reconstruct the actual time.
As well as we can construct it.
I think a murderer could use up 30 or 40 seconds very easily at that point.
Yes, let's reconstruct the killing.
Yes, let's.
Here, you do the stabbing.
No, I'll do it.
Why don't you be the one that gets stabbed? You're younger than him. And don't forget, you take 1 second before.
And he was found on his side, his right side. So fall and roll onto your right side. If someone hates another person enough, don't you think it's reasonable to assume that the murderer would look at his victim for a second or two?
Divorce yourself from this particular case, just human nature.
Yes, it seems reasonable.
Hey, now, wait a minute. He falls and he ends up on his right side. The father did. But stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even when it's in the heart. The father would have walked around on the floor for a few seconds, rising maybe.
That seems possible. There would have been enough oxygen in his system to carry him for a second or two.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the kid held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
Also, there's another point you might bring out. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to wipe away the fingerprints after murdering someone, well, that person is also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, to see if there are any other clues. It would only be for a second or two, I should think, but he would look around.
This gets better and better.
We're only trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk about quality when murder's involved. Well, let's do it.
About this on the fingerprints. The kid wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man that hated me, and if he was wiping the doorknob with a handkerchief as he came in, it would give me an uneasy feeling. So the doorknobs must have been wiped after the kill. And this too would take some time.
Right. You timed the last one. Why don't you time this one too?
All right.
So stamp your foot when you want me to start.
I want the end to be at 60.
I'm gonna kill you! And he would have wiped both knobs. Stop!
Right. 20, 25, about 29 and a half seconds, I would say.
And whoever did murder the old man, and I still believe it was a kid, he had to run down the hall and down the stairs, at least one flight of stairs.
You see?
The story of the old man may well be true.
So now both time sequences check. The one you did and the one we did. What we turned downstairs and everything, it does pretty much check out on times.
Sure, there's an old man who wants attention. He's probably right, but the old man is the way everyone does. A life is at stake.
That's right. The story was true.
Except for the fact the old man on the stand swore, under oath, there was only 15 seconds.
We seem to all agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I agree that this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but he's in part a proven liar now, and this is by your own admission.
That may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think it will change my vote once more. Guilty.
What about you? What do you think now?
I just don't know what to think. I want to talk some more. At first, I thought guilty, then I changed. Now, I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
And what about you?
I remember real dogs. Real dogs.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we are beginning to make sense in here.
It seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings?
I don't know what you are thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
And what's that?
I don't live in a tenement, but it is closed and there is just enough light in the hall, so you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small and this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs, and one even had a flashlight, remember?
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds. On this, we all agree. This old man looked down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognized a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
Then, couldn't the old man be 100% that was wrong about who he saw?
That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard of. You're making it up out of thin air.
We are hung, Jerry. Let's be honest about it.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
Excuse me. What do you mean I don't understand it? Who do you think you are to talk to me like that? How do you like this woman? She comes over here running for her life, and before she can even take a big breath, she's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of her.
No one here is asking where anyone came from,
I was born right here.
or where your father came from.
Oh, relax, will you? Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learned something we don't know. We're not so perfect after all.
Please, I'm used to this. It is all right. Thank you.
It's not all right.
Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want.
All right, let's stop the arguing. Now, who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something similar to the this whole business about the step wood, how it was made, and the downward angle of it, you know?
Don't tell me we're gonna start that again. They went over it and over it in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father was 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's an awkward thing to step down into the chest of someone who is half a foot taller than you are.
Alright. You won't be satisfied till you see it again. I'm gonna give a demonstration. Somebody, get up. Now, watch closely. I don't want to do it again. Is that 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
A little bit more.
What's the matter with you?
Relax. Nobody's hurt. Are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
Here's your angle. Down in it. That's how I stop a taller man in the chest. And that's how it's done. Take a look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Have you ever stabbed a man?
Of course not.
Did you ever stab a man?
Alright, let's not be silly.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Where do you get all the information about how it's done then?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No.
Well, let me ask you something. The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone.
That's right.
Now, look at this. Doesn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute. What's the matter with me? Give me that knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies.
No, in my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I've lived. Funny that I didn't think of it before. I guess you try to forget those things. Well, anyway, anyone who has ever used a switch knife will never have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. You use it underhanded.
Then he could have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
I suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely, not if he had any experience with the switch knives. And we all know that the The kid had a lot of experience with the switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you?
Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing already. We're getting nowhere fast. Let's break it up and go home.
Before we decide on anything more, I'd like to try and pull this together.
This will be good.
He has a right, let him go ahead.
Do you want me to on this one too?
Let's hear it.
I'm in advertising. I'm Mr. Big Shots pulling things together. Let's throw it out on the stoop and see if the cat makes it up.
Okay. I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have guilty.
I want to know, is the kid dumb or is he smart?
What do you mean?
The boy was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so?
That's right.
It would then take a very stupid man to go and murder someone, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I quite agree he's dumb.
However, then why did he make the kind of wound that an amateur would make?
I'm not sure I understand.
Okay, let me clarify. To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred. And at that moment, he would handle the knife as best he could, and a trained knife fighter would handle it as he had been trained. Underhand. A man who had not been trained, however, would go overhand. But the kid is being very smart. Everyone knows that he's an experienced knife fighter, so at that moment, he's smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else. That man is a smart man. Smart enough to wipe fingerprints. Perhaps even smart enough to wait until an L train was going by in order to cover up the noise. Now, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Well, the one across the L track saw the murder through the L train. So someone in that L train would have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
It would take an awfully dumb man to take that chance, doing the murder as the train went by.
Exactly. A dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. He probably heard nothing. He probably didn't even hear the train coming, and whoever did murder the father did it as well as he could.
So?
Look, the boy is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with the knife, the switch knife murder in this case. Then he becomes smart and dumb and smart and dumb. So, in order to make this boy guilty, to actually convict this boy, you have to say that he is dumb from 8 o'clock until about midnight. Then he becomes smart for a couple seconds and makes a kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else. Then, a couple seconds later, he once again becomes stupid. So stupid that he does the aforementioned murder while an L train was going by. Then he becomes once again smart. Smart enough to wipe fingerprints. Then he once again becomes dumb. So dumb, in fact, that he does not think of a good alibi. You can doubt, doubt, and doubt.
I haven't thought that.
And the old man downstairs. Understand, he swore that it was 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds. But we all seem to have agreed that it was almost 40 seconds.
So does the old man lie half the time? And then does he tell the truth the other half of the time?
In order for this boy to be guilty, you have to say that he is dumb, then smart, then dumb, then smart, and dumb. Also, for this boy to be guilty, you have to say the old man downstairs lies half of the time and tells the truth in the other. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm so no reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I wanted more talk and now I've had it.
I want to vote.
Okay, there's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. Anyone object? Alright, all those voting not guilty, raise your hands. 9. All those voting guilty? 3. The vote is 9 to 3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this kid is innocent? You know how those people lie, I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't need any good reason to kill someone either. You know, they get drunk and bang. Someone's dying in the gutter. Nobody's even blaming them. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Hey, look, where are you all going? Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed. They don't care. Oh, sure. There are some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first to say that. I've known a few who are pretty decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? I'm speaking my piece, and you listen to me. They're no good. There's not one of them who's any good. We better watch out. Take it from me. This kid on trial? Well, don't you know about them? Listen to me. I'm trying to tell you something.
Right, I've had enough. If you open your mouth one more time, I'm going to split your skull.
I'm only trying to tell you.
All right, everybody, please take your seats. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. I'll tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence was given by the woman across the street who said that she actually saw the murder committed.
As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
All right, let's go over her testimony then. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said she went to bed about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the open window, and she could see through the window while lying down and see directly into the window across the street. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. Finally, at about 12:10, she turned toward the window and saw the boy stab his father. As far as I can see, this is unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. That's the whole case.
Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how we can vote for an acquittal. What do you think?
Well, maybe. There's so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean, maybe? She's absolutely right. You cannot throw out all the other evidence.
That was my feeling. I don't deny the validity of the points that he has made. Shall we say that on one side of the tracks, there is doubt. But what about the story of the woman? She saw it.
What is the time?
4:25. You don't suppose they'd let us go home and finish it in the morning? I've got a kid with mumps.
Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Well, what do you all do at night when you want to know what time it is?
I put my glasses on and look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. My father gave it to me when we married. My wife and I. It wasn't until 10 years we had a place to put it.
Well, do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one will use my glasses to bed.
What about the woman who testified that she saw the murder? She wears glasses too. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course, the woman were quite white because I remember this very clearly. They looked quite strong.
That's right. Her focus. She never took them off.
Funny. I hadn't thought of that.
It's my guess that she did not wear her glasses to bed. And I don't think she put them on just to casually glance out the window. In her testimony, she said that the murder took place the instant she looked out, and a split second later the lights went out. Now, she honestly may have thought that she saw the boy stab his father. I say she only saw blood.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does it know all these things?
Does anyone still think there is not a reasonable doubt?
I will always wonder, but there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he is guilty.
Does anyone else?
No. I'm convinced there is a reasonable doubt.
You're all alone.
11 votes not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
I told you, I think the kid is guilty. Now what else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have time.
Listen to me. What's the matter with you? You made all the arguments. You can't turn now. A guilty man is going to be walking in the streets. A murderer. Stay with me.
Oh, I'm convinced. I don't think I'm wrong often, but I guess I was this once. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting.
You are not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's gonna be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about that, except hope. One night, why, in a few months, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If you're going to hung this jury, there will be another trial. And some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers.
All right.
They're waiting. Not guilty?